out what recipe I could make for you today, I realized that I haven't made one of my most favorite recipes of all time, and that is the broiled Greek burgers. They are amazing. They are from the Optavia app. So come on along and lean in green with me. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Elizabeth and I am living in the light by documenting my weight loss journey, and I'm using Optavia's 5-in-1 program. The one part of the 5-in-1 is a lean and green meal that is made up of 5 to 7 ounces of lean protein, 3 servings of lower carbohydrate vegetables, plus condiments and sometimes healthy fats. And the recipe that I'm making for you today uses protein from the lean category, so no healthy fats, but I am going to have 3 greens and 3 condiments. I like my burger mixture to sit with the seasonings for a little while to really ramp up the flavors and make sure that everything is in there. So I'm going to go ahead and make my burger mixture, and I'm gonna make my sauce mixture and show you how to put all those things together so that when it comes time for dinner, all I have to do is broil my burgers and throw together my dinner, and it will be super easy come dinner time. So if you've got time in the morning and you wanna throw things together so that when you get home from work or at the end of the day, you can just easily throw dinner together, this is a great recipe for that. Before I walk you through all the ingredients though, can I invite you to just scroll down a little bit, give me a thumbs up, like this video, let me know that you like the kind of content that I am doing. It takes just a second, but it really does help me. It helps my channel and it helps my videos to be seen more often. So if you could just help a girl out, hit that thumbs up button, that would be great. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would be honored if you would do that. And if you would like to share my videos with family, with friends, on other social media like Facebook or Instagram, you are welcome to share my videos. I would love to see more people come and check out what I have to offer. So let me talk you through the ingredients for this recipe, and then I'll show you how to make the meat mixture. It uses 1 1/4 pounds of 90% lean ground beef. I actually have 93% lean because that's just what I do, but that still falls in the lean category. 1 teaspoon of salt divided, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper divided, 2 teaspoons of crushed garlic divided, a scallion trimmed and minced, a tablespoon of capers, and I'll talk to you about those in a minute, 3 ounces of low-fat, reduced fat feta cheese, 1 1/2 English cucumbers, about 1 1/4 pounds, 1/2 cup of low-fat plain Greek yogurt. I'm using fat-free. It's the same, it counts the same regardless because I'm not using it as a healthy fat. I'm using it as a condiment. And then 8 large lettuce leaves. So that's the contents that are going into my ingredients. Let me show you how to mix up the meat mixture. The first thing that I need is 1 1/4 pounds of the meat. So I've got my trusty scale. Always zero out your scale to make sure if you've got a bowl on there, I don't want to weigh the bowl. So 1 1/4 pounds is 1 pound 4 ounces. So I'm gonna put, that should be 1 pound. Oh, it's a little bit under. Oh, Kroger, you cheat me a little bit. And then I'm gonna do 1/4 pound. What I will do with the rest of this is weigh it. I may actually cook it up and put with some seasoning just so that I have like taco meat or something like that in the freezer. So I want 1 pound 4 ounces. That's 1 pound 4 1/8. Okay, there we go. So that's 1 pound 4 ounces of the meat mixture. I'm gonna zero out my, well actually no, I don't need to zero out my scale. The next thing I wanna do is 1/2 of the salt and 1/2 of the pepper. So I need a 1/2 of the salt would be a 1/2 teaspoon of salt because I want a whole teaspoon of salt. So I've got a 1/2 teaspoon here. I'm gonna put that in here. And then 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. I'm gonna eyeball that. Then I need the crushed garlic, so 2 teaspoons. That's about what I have left in here. I might not even have 2 teaspoons in here, but it'll be pretty close. And I'm just gonna squeeze this into my mixture. And the capers. So let me talk to you about capers. Capers are, if you've never tried these before, they come in a little jar like this. Several different brands that sell it. They're like really salty, briny, little pearls of loveliness. So if you like pickly things, if you like green olives, that's kind of the vibe that they have. They are, I mean, there's capers, waters, vinegar, and salt in here. A tablespoon has 5 calories, no carbs, no protein. It's got a good deal of sodium, so you want to rinse them off. So I measure out a tablespoon. I put them in like a little container and I just put water in here and give it a little stir and then drain out the water. And then I just take a knife, run a knife through them to get them minced up a little bit. So that's going in there. And a scallion. So green onion. I've already washed it. I have trimmed off the dead part of the end of the stalk. I just bought these at Kroger today. Super thick and juicy looking. And I like to just run scissors through them. It's easier than a knife most of the time. I have talked before about how I like to just get a big bunch or a couple of bunches, and they actually were on sale at Kroger for like 89 cents a bunch. So I grabbed a few bunches and I'm going to cut them up today and throw them in a plastic container and toss them in the freezer so that the next time I need green onions, I just have to take out what I need. And when you get down to the bulb part, you can always just like cut it in quarters and then just snip so that you get smaller pieces. And that just, then you don't have to run a knife through it. The scissors do a great job of that. The next thing I'm gonna do is then take off my rings so that I don't get stuff in my rings and give this a mix and get the capers and the garlic and the green onions mixed in here as best I can. Again, remember, this is gonna sit in my refrigerator for a while. I do want to remember, I need to remember how much this all weighs. So that's why I didn't zero out my scale. I'm at 1 pound, 6 1/4 ounces, and then I'm gonna add 3 ounces of feta cheese. So I've got 1 pound, 9 ounces. And what I'm gonna have to do is divide that into quarters when I go to make my burgers. So I want 1/4 of the mixture, and I will end up making 8 burgers altogether, but I want them to be as even as possible. Now, Athenos brand is the one that I find that has the reduced fat. What you're looking for if you don't have Athenos and you can't find the reduced fat, you want the fat grams to be between 3 and 6 grams of fat per serving. So this one has 3 grams of fat, definitely a lower carb. And some of the chunks are pretty big, so I will go in and kind of squeeze the big chunks a little bit and break them up so that I can distribute the feta throughout the mixture. And this part is done. I am going to cover this with some plastic wrap. I'm going to toss it in the refrigerator until dinner time and go wash my hands, and I will be right back. The next thing I need to do is to deal with the cucumber sauce, and that is 1.25 pounds of English cucumbers, and I've already weighed that out. And I am going to combine that with the remaining ½ teaspoon of salt, put that in a colander and just let that sit probably for 30-ish minutes and squeeze out a bunch of the water. So that's my first step. I've weighed this out already. I love this particular grater because it has a little measuring, it has a measuring cup, but I don't ever measure anything in it. But I just grate right into a container. And it's nice but it grates really well. Just make sure that you remember to be sure that the opening of the measuring container is facing the direction that you're grating. I can't tell you how many times I have grated things and the container was upside down, so it gets smushed between the bottom of the container and the grater. It works, but maybe it squeezes out some of the liquid that way. And another great thing about this grater is that it has little blades that face both directions. So when you go one direction, it cuts, and when you go the other direction, it also cuts. So it's like double time. And you can already see all the liquid that's coming out of this right now. And I need my half teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna sprinkle that over. That will help to draw out more water. Get this mixed up a little bit. I'm gonna set this colander over my sink so that the water liquid can drain away. And then I'll be back in about 30 minutes to show you how to finish off the sauce. You'll have to pardon the sound of my robot vacuum in the background. I'm sorry about that. Now you will add a teaspoon of garlic to yours. I got recipe happy and forgot and put all of it in my burger, so that's all right. It'll still be good. I squeezed most of the water as much as I could out of this. And then I'm gonna do a half a cup of yogurt, which is most of one of these. There's 4 ounces in half a cup, and this is 5.3 ounces. So I did most of it, and I'm just gonna mix this together. I'm gonna cover this with plastic, stick it in the fridge. The flavors are gonna meld, and a quarter of this mixture, which I will end up weighing before I eat so that I make sure that I get a quarter of it, is going to be dolloped on top of the burgers. I'm going to put each burger patty, so I'm gonna divide the mixture into 8. I'm gonna get 2 of those burger patties, and it comes out to about 6 1/4 ounces per pre-cooked per patty. And so then once it cooks, it'll be a lot less than that, but that is the equivalent because I added a bunch of stuff in. I'm gonna broil those, put them on big lettuce leaves, dollop this on top, and it's gonna be delicious. I'll be back to show you how I make the burgers and then how I put it together. Before I can cook these, I've got to divide it into 4 even servings. And so I figured out each of the servings is about 6 1/4 ounces. So I've got my plate on my scale. I've got my scale zeroed out. My mixture just came out of the refrigerator. And so I'm gonna try to put about 6 ounces on here and see what happens. A tiny bit more. 6 3/8. Let's see how that does. Got 1. And let me see how I did as far as weights go here. That is perfect. I don't know how I do it. So I'm going to take each of these mixtures and I'm going to divide them in half. And I'm going to keep the mixtures together just so that if I don't need to weigh those particularly. I just know that those 2 are going to go together. These 2 are going to go together. These 2 are going to go together. And these 2 are going to go together. And I'm just going to make them into little patties. They're going to go under the broiler, and I've used foil instead of parchment because we don't want anything catching on fire. So I've got foil instead of parchment. I'm going to broil them about 5 minutes, flipping them about halfway through. And then I will come back and show you how I'm going to serve these on the lettuce leaves with the cucumber sauce that we made. The recipe will tell you 5 minutes is all you need to cook these, and I'm telling you, no, it's 5 minutes a side. So I do 5 minutes. This is under the broiler, about 5 to 6 inches from the broiler. Just keep an eye on them. You know how you want them cooked. So 5 minutes, flip them over, another 5 minutes. My cucumber mixture weighed exactly a pound. So I have 4 ounces of the cucumber yogurt mixture to add to each one. That's a lot, but it is going to be very flavorful. This is my Greek burgers, broiled Greek burgers for my lean and green tonight. I hope you'll give it a try. If there are recipes that you think I'm missing out on, that you think I should try, favorites, things that I haven't done, would you please leave those in the comments box down below? If there are recipes you want me to create, several of you have reached out to me to do that for you, and I have done that, and I love the challenge. So give these a try. Let me know other recipes, and until I see you next time, please live in the light.